This is breaking news from the Las Vegas Review-Journal, sponsored by Michael Gaughan's South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa.
To come to Las Vegas, we're vaccinating our frontline workers, so it makes it safer for them, for their families, for all the guests that we're bringing in, all the conventioneers, and that's why we want to make it as safe as possible.
Can you speak to how the supply is starting to outpace the demand? There's not as many people showing up to vaccine sites as there were initially in Nevada?
Yeah, no, the supply is not outpacing the demand. We've got a huge amount of demand. We're just increasing some of the capacities a little bit. We're still trying to get more and more vaccines into Nevada, and we're getting our allocation increased every week, which is certainly helping us. But what we're doing by having the hospitality and food service workers, because we're expanding them to 50% next week, I think that's a good thing. That, they're going to be able to come in here, get their vaccine, and feel safer when they're out in the community and dealing with customers.
How about age group? What's the next age group that'll be allowed to start getting vaccinated?
The next age group that's on the playbook is going to be 18 through 64 with underlying conditions, and that's what we're trying to get to. We're trying to get to people that are most susceptible and vulnerable to the disease, and that's what we're doing. So the next group will be the 18 to 64 with underlying conditions.
As more and more people get vaccinated, is there going to be any increase in the timeline for 50% businesses that could get moved ahead? Is anything moving ahead?
Yeah, we're moving forward with all of the restrictions. You're going to see a lot of them ease next week, you know that. And we're going to see how quickly we can get vaccines in arms, how many we can get in arms. And then you're aware that in May, we plan to turn this over to local jurisdictions. Some of them are further ahead on the vaccines than Clark is, but hopefully everybody will be in a good position by that point, and we'll be able to expand it all.
I just want to clarify, today when we announced that we're moving to hospitality, it also mentioned that we're looking to do 55 plus with underlying conditions by end of next week. So that was in the same release with the hospitality workers, so you all should have that there.
As far as it goes for the governor's office and all your employees that work for you, after you get yours today, how many still will there be to go?
I didn't do the analysis that we did in my office. We did the people that have a front facing with the public, and those that are part of the governance issue. The ones that are working from home, can't work from homes that are younger, they haven't gotten it.
But perhaps in the next couple of weeks you have that.
I hope in the next couple of weeks we'll be able to open up more and more and more. As we get the vaccines, we will be able to open it up. And now with 3 vaccines available, it's certainly helping, giving us more options to get into the locations, and that's what we've been doing this for so long for.
Governor, the feds changed their guidance on nursing home and visitations. Does Nevada plan on following that soon by changing some of the restrictions?
Yeah, we're looking at the restrictions going into nursing homes. It's been a very, very difficult situation. People haven't been able to get in and see their loved ones. I can tell you that my mom lives with my sister, but the biggest thing she looks forward to is seeing her grandkids, and that's what folks really want to do. So we're working with the Nursing Home Association to try to loosen those up, to try to get families coming back together, because it's been difficult. It's been a year. We started talking about this a year ago, and I would have never imagined a year ago we'd still be here today, but we are. So I'm happy the pace we're going, but we got a lot further to go.
Any idea how soon that could be?
I do not know.
Governor Sisolak, any progress on speaking with federal officials about kind of the allocation algorithm because Nevada has had a big population growth and the allocations based on old census data. Any progress on trying to get new census data in there to get Nevada the proper allocation?
Yeah, I talked with the President's task force and we deal with that, and they've been using this older data, and unfortunately this is disadvantage for Nevada and some other states that have an influx of people, especially older people, retirees that have moved here, and some of the ones that have lost population have gotten the benefit from this. They said they're aware of the new data. They're going to implement it as quickly as they can, but as for right now, they're sticking with the old set of data, and we're encouraging them to look forward and move that out.
Governor, with the several billion coming from the new stimulus package, what are your priorities as far as what's going to this state, and are there possibly any programs that could now be funded that otherwise wouldn't have been?
Yeah, I really appreciate we had our, both of our senators and 3 of our Congress people voted for that. Congresswoman Titus, Congressman Horsford, and Congresswoman Lake, and Senators Rosen and Cortez Masto, certainly. We're going to work with the legislature in order to allocate that. Now, there's some flexible money that's coming from the federal government that'll come to the state. There's flexible money coming from the federal government to the counties and the cities. And then there's certain pockets of money that's also available. The school district, Clark County School District, is getting hundreds of millions of dollars. That's specified. And then there's other money. that's specified. It could be for rental assistance. It could be for vaccine distribution and whatnot. We don't want to use our flexible money to fill those needs. We want to try to get as much of that as we can too. So we're working closely with the delegation in Washington and the legislature to come up with a way to allocate responsibly the funds that we're going to get.
So Governor, you're up next. It looks like we'll finish one more and then it'll be your turn.
Cool.
I let the folks know that what was available today was the Janssen, the J&J vaccine for you, so that's what you'll be getting today.
Good.
I'm like nervous for you. That's like time.
He's nervous. I'm not nervous. Anybody have anything else before I...
Any encouraging words for those not yet taking the vaccine?
Yeah, and I really appreciate that. Right now, we are still really focusing on those 65 and over. It's extremely important that that vulnerable part of the population we get in for vaccine. So if you're 65 and over and you haven't gotten it, please come on down. There's vaccination sites all over the place to get it. And if you know someone who's 65 or over and hasn't gotten it, you know, we've seen the best in people during the pandemic. People going out of their way to help their neighbors and their family and their friends and whatnot. If you know somebody that's 65 and doesn't have transportation or can't get there, you know, a phone call to them and say, hey, look, let's make an appointment. I'll take you down there would really go a long, long way. And it's something that we'd really appreciate them helping out in that way because there's a lot of folks in that age group that don't have transportation or can't get to a bus line immediately. But it's the most important thing we're still fighting for. We want to get to 75, 80% of that population group, and we're still short of that right now. So we're encouraging anybody that's over 65 to certainly get in, get a vaccine. And now that we've opened up for those with underlying conditions, 55 and above, please come in, get a vaccine, and whatever the underlying condition is, whether it's asthma, diabetes, whatever it might be, just don't think twice, but come on down and we'll do what we can. Good?
So we'll have Gov get a shot, and then we'll try to turn the store back over to Albertsons, if that's okay.
Thank you, Albertsons, for helping us out here. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Hi, Governor.
How are you?
Which
Which arm do you want?
arm is best for you? All right, Governor, before I start, I do have to ask you a few questions.
Okay. Ask aloud, because they're all going to want to hear these questions.
All right. Do you have any of the following symptoms that are unusual for you? Cough, shortness of breath, sore throat, chills, congestion, or runny nose?
No.
All right. Do you have diarrhea or nausea, vomiting?
No.
And do you have a fever?
You had to ask it in front of all these people.
And
No.
do you have a fever? Okay, Governor.
I do not. Thank you.
Your the left arm is okay, correct?
yeah.
All right, Governor.
Funds allowed.
You're in good hands.
I know. Now, everybody that comes down here isn't going to get this young lady to do their vaccination because you have to have a day off. But you
Yes,
know.
I do. Are you scared of needles over there?
No, I'm fine. Yeah, there's that in front of all these people too. I'm not afraid of needles. I'm not afraid of needles.
Okay.
You're getting ready there, aren't
I'm getting ready. Yes, sir.
you? Nice kid you have there.
Thank you. This is my school pharmacy kit.
A full pharmacy kid.
School of pharmacy kit.
School of pharmacy kid.
Relax as much as you can. All right, Governor, you ready, sir?
Ready.
Count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Governor, you did great. Governor, you did great.
Thank you. Well done.
Did you get it?
Is it Michelle?
Michelle, yeah.
All right, so you just saw Governor Steve Sisolak receive his COVID-19 vaccine, and other grocery store workers are set to receive their shots soon as well, right after him. he says that he is not afraid of needles, but for those of you who are, it probably wasn't a very pretty sight to see. The Southern Nevada Health District is also expanding vaccine eligibility to food service and hospitality workers. That's effective immediately. Right before the governor received his shot, he talked about the fact that people who are more susceptible to disease are 18 to 64 with underlying conditions. They will be the next ones to receive their shots and be eligible for the COVID vaccine. And he hopes to open up the shots to more and more people as more vaccines come into the state now that there are 3 vaccines available here in Nevada. He says he wants to also help families reunite, but right now there's no timeline on when that will happen. And he's also encouraging those 65 and older to get vaccinated immediately. If you know someone who's in that age group, make sure that they're vaccinated. Sisolak himself is older than 65. He's 67 years old, which is why he's eligible, along with grocery store workers who work in the front lines. They're eligible as well. Remember, you can continue following our coverage of the pandemic by heading over to our website, lvrj.com. We'll also have an update for you this evening on 7 at 7 p.m. Our newly launched digital newscast, 7 at 7, is available weekdays at 7 a.m. and weeknights at 7 p.m. It looks like the governor's already worn his jacket. He's getting ready to leave there and give it to the other grocery store workers for them to get their shots. I am Jen Ah, your digital anchor at the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. See you at 7.
You've been watching breaking news from the Las Vegas Review-Journal, sponsored by Michael Gaughan's South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa.